Good evening and welcome to Evening Exchange. I'm Coach Onamdi. 16 months ago, the whole world watched a startling home video of white police officers in Los Angeles beating the daylights out of a black motorist. The videotape graphically depicted the motorist, Rodney King, receiving 56 blows in 81 seconds. The evidence was there, but in late April, an all-white jury acquitted 3 of the officers of the crime of excessive force. A 4th is now going to be tried again. How did 12 men and women watch that tape and not see excessive force? After the verdict was read, there were cries of racism from around the country. People blamed racism for the verdicts of not guilty. But what is racism? Why does it exist? How does it reveal itself? What are its effects? And most importantly, how can it be stopped? For the rest of this week, we will put questions to African American leaders and journalists. Tonight, we will get our answers from a noted Washington psychiatrist who has developed the Cress theory of color confrontation and racism. Dr. Francis Cress Welsing believes the root of racism is buried deep in the white man's fear of genetic elimination. Welcome once again to Evening Exchange, Dr. Welsing. Good to have you here. Let us talk first, before we speak in theoretical terms, about racism in practical terms. What is it in that Simi Valley courtroom that allowed those 12 non-black people to sit there and see what we all saw and decide that there wasn't excessive force? What role did racism play in that?
Well, one might say in a society predicated on racism, white supremacy, or white genetic survival, whether persons who call themselves police officers or not, their fundamental role is to protect the people who are classified as white. And so when that jury was shifted to an area where there were mostly all white people, they knew that consciously or subconsciously that they had to defend the people who are in place to defend them. And I say that that's what happened. And until some of these subconscious, conscious dynamics are brought to the surface, then we're going to continue to see racism. And when I say that, I mean white supremacy. We're going to continue to see the effects of it played out, because racism was being played out when Rodney King received those 56 blows in 81 seconds. Do you see, that was a lynching. I mean, it's an act of God that he survived. Do you see, if he had died, we would say, well, that was effectively a lynching in when was that, 1990?
1998, 1990, yeah, late 1990, I guess. Let's talk about the subconscious and conscious aspects of racism for a second, because it seems to me as a layperson that I would say in the beating of Rodney King, we saw it consciously acted out, and maybe in the Simi Valley courtroom we saw it subconsciously acted out. Is that correct?
Well, do you see something? I say that if you took for example, one of the police officers, I read an article in the paper, he said that he was not a racist who was involved in the beating. And my thought was, if the gentleman was asked, what is your definition of racism? Then it might, he might say, well, I don't hate black people. Do you see? Well, I didn't say that racism was hating. I say that racism is based upon facts of reality. The facts are that the white population globally is a tiny minority population. The second fact is that white skin is genetic recessive to black, brown, red, and yellow skin. In other words, you mix white plus black, and you get white genetic annihilation. And I say fundamentally, that is the core issue for the behavior and what we as black people or other people of color call prejudice, or, being held back underneath the white position nationally, locally, globally.
It is interesting because so many thoughts spring to mind when you talk, that you seem to be saying, and you as a psychiatrist would have much better knowledge of this than I would, but that even at the subconscious level, the notion of genetic survival still exists. The notion of wanting to avoid genetic annihilation still exists.
Right, and the only people who talk about it overtly are people that are called white supremacists. The Nazis, the Klan. But I say that they really are, or Adolf Hitler, they are the ones who can touch that core Do you see? And everybody ends up responding. For example, the Republican Party, I forget the campaign manager, Lee Atwater.
Lee Atwater.
Do you see, when he said, we're going to use the name Willie Horton, and they knew that they could get a response. In other words, black male having sexual intercourse by force with a white female, the bottom line, you add, that plus that plus that equals white genetic annihilation. And this is the fundamental core that is going on. Now, as a psychiatrist, I say the proof of that is even after that disaster in Los Angeles. Do you see, we had a few people, we had a senator from New Jersey say racism, do you see, and racism was said just for a few minutes, and then that was taken completely off the stage, and then the discussion went to black violence, black violence, black violence, but no analysis. Do you see, in other words, if that wasn't a core issue that could not be touched, then racism is the problem. Well, let's bring all the people who have written extensively or theorized about racism, let's bring them together and let's get to the bottom of this and let's get rid of this. But you see, that had already happened in '68. The Kerner Commission report had already been written. Do you see, but that report was written after the riots in California.
And so you're saying pretty soon the discussion turned to one of family values.
Family values.
And what needs to be done to provide a few businesses.
Do you see, or the projection when family values was stated, I believe that it was said with a backdrop of black people.
Yep.
Do you see, where the people who do not have family values are these black people. Do you see, it's nothing, we are not doing anything.
Right.
Our hands are white and clean. You see, we haven't done anything. Somehow these people are acting in this way. It doesn't have anything to do with us. It's like a person commits a murder. Do you see? And somebody said, who did it? I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Get that black guy. Do you see? Which is why the man in Boston, white man kills his wife. He knew that he could say, a black man did it. Do you see? And
it would be credible.
And that it would be immediately credible.
And acted on in that way.
And acted on in that way.
Subconscious versus conscious again. You once mentioned to me, I think the last time I interviewed you on Evening Exchange, that one of the things you really wanted to do was to sit down and have a conversation on race with a white male. And I've been reading recently, I think, about Dr. Andrew Hacker of City University of New York, who has a book out in which he says that all white people are innately racist, recognize that there are benefits to the notion of white supremacy and benefits in the society in which they live. Now, he does not talk about genetic survival in the same way that you talk of, but he, it seems at the very least, acknowledges that this problem exists universally among white people, and I haven't seen anybody white say that recently.
Well, first of all, Professor Hacker said that he didn't want to do anything about it.
Right, that's true. He did say that.
Secondly, Professor Hacker, it wasn't his idea to write that book.
Right, it was some publisher's
idea. The publishers
idea.
came to him and said, write a book and talk about white people's feelings about themselves. I say that they took it from my work.
Interesting.
They took that, do you see, in other words...
See, because I haven't talked to you about this before. We have to make that clear to our audience. We haven't discussed this before.
We haven't discussed this before. I say that it's, in other words, we can't have a black person analyze us, and we can't go to the level that she did because we can't refute what she's saying. So then we will put our person out to come along and discuss it at a surface level.
Right, talking only about privilege.
But it had, I say that, and I've told people, I say every black person should go out and read Andrew Hacker's book.
I haven't yet.
You see, because black people will say to me, when I was teaching at Howard University, some students would say, well, Dr. Welsing, are there any authorities who agree with you? Meaning, you're black and we can't accept it from a black person. We need a white person to say it. And so I have, I said, well, now you have a white person saying it, but he just laid out the statistics. But I say his statistical data supports what I wrote 22 years ago.
It is interesting that you mentioned that it had no credibility because you happen to be black. And I was thinking recently about how white people have been writing about black people and about the history of black people for literally hundreds of years, and nobody was accused of having a bias until we started writing about ourselves. Then it was felt that somehow or the other our writing about ourselves would somehow be biased, and therefore greater credibility somehow miraculously is attached to it when it comes from somebody of another race, unless you start writing about white people.
Well, now this might be interesting to you. A number of years ago, I said to a black person at the National Institutes of Mental Health who was in charge of giving grants to black psychiatrists, I won't name the person, it's not relevant. I said I would like to get some money to further my studies of white people. The answer was, Francis, we had best let white people study themselves. Now this is a part of the dynamic. In other words,
Nobody ever told that to Margaret Mead.
well, that's no. See, we are in a structure, in a system of racism, white supremacy. The system would fall apart if the victims could step forward and describe the world as they see it and understand it and move on that. You see, for example, just recently we had a big article written in the Washington Post. All kinds of statements about racism. Francis Welsing is sitting here.
Nobody asked
see, my
anything.
theory is the only theory on white supremacy behavior that is receiving major discussion in the world today.
Without
but
you
it
getting
cannot
any
be
attributed
talked
to you.
about. It just simply cannot be talked about in depth in the open, because I say it goes to the very core.
Okay, are we talking about the Sister Soldier Bill Clinton controversy?
No, no,
here?
no. I'm
Okay.
talking about
Oh, the specific series on racism.
the series
that they
on
did.
racism,
Oh, okay, in
but
which
we
they
don't
talked
need
to
to
all
discuss
kinds of people.
Exactly.
Yes,
Everybody except the lady who said this problem can be understood very simply, and not only that, all of the symbolism that is within the culture has also been laid out. So that's another level of in-depth proof.
That's a whole nother segment in this show that we're going to discuss later on. But
Okay.
having brought up Sister Soldier and Bill Clinton, I am interested in your reflections on that controversy. Which it seems like everything else in media had the shelf life of about a week. It looks like it's about to go away.
Well, do you see, I say that here's a young person, very bright and intelligent, who is an artist and is expressing freedom of speech, First Amendment rights, saying what she thinks. Now there's an individual, Axl Rose,
Yep.
and Andrew Dice Clay,
Yep.
do you see, who were talking about blacks and Hispanics negatively, do you see? Nobody said stop them from saying whatever they want to say as artists, freedom of expression. But I say that Sister Soldier was used in the same way, tragically, by the Democratic Party that Willie Horton's name was used by the Republican Party. In other words, don't get us wrong. We stand for slapping the black people. Do you see? So make no mistake, white people, there is not going to be the threat of the black people getting out of line, Sister Soldier, Jesse Jackson, because if they get out of line, we are exposed to the fundamental threat of white genetic annihilation.
And that's what I was about to get to, but you got to it, and that is, you're saying that when a Sister Soldier or an Ice-T with his new record, Cop Killer, or Jesse Jackson comes out, that when the spinners and the manipulators use these people as a message, the ultimate message is that these are the people who would annihilate us.
Exactly, because you see what she was saying, and I think every really intelligent person understood what this young person was saying, that if this system structure allows for blacks to be killed at the mass level on a daily basis, well then why couldn't black people kill white people? Do you see what I'm saying?
Right, and
she was really throwing,
explaining
she
the
was
mindset.
explaining, do you see what I'm saying? In other words, one can, I've heard any number of PhD black people in this city say, well, if 10 white people were killed in the course of a year, we would have martial law. But it's okay as long as it's hundreds and hundreds of black male persons, because these are the people who are the Willie Horton threat to white genetic survival. And I say that, you know, if there are sincere people, you see, irrespective of color, who are interested in having a society and a world of justice, they have to begin to talk about white supremacy. Do you see, and I've thrown that challenge out. I said, I'm looking for one white man, two, do you see, three, six in the whole world, one in the whole world, who will come forward and say, this is what white people are doing to black people in general and black men in particular. No, do you see, now Mr. Hacker came forward, but he said, I'm not interested in changing this.
Right. Let's talk, before we go to a break, about what your definition of racism is. What is your definition of racism?
My definition of racism, it is that it is a global behavioral system. Do you see, consciously or subconsciously determined patterns of perception, logic, thought, speech, action, and emotional response as expressed by persons who classify themselves as white in all areas of people activity: economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war, on planet Earth, a planet upon which the vast majority of people are black, brown, red, and yellow, who are genetically dominant to the tiny minority of people whose skins are white.
Think about that for a while, because we're going to take a short break, and when we come back we will speak in more specific terms about how racism manifests itself in this society and what we can do about it. So stay there and don't go anyplace. Welcome back to Evening Exchange. If you've just joined us, our discussion is about racism with noted psychiatrist Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, who has been researching this subject for more than 20 years, the issue of white supremacy and racism. So I don't want people to think that you are starting from an emotional premise of a personal affront by white people that you have turned into some kind of dislike or hatred. You are saying that your studies are based on nothing that you dreamed up, but simply available facts.
Well, what I say are the available facts are things that, you know, we don't ever have any discussion about, that whites are a tiny minority on the planet.
Fact.
Do you see? But it's always the black people. You're a minority, you're a minority, you're a minority. Never that we are a tiny minority, you know, fewer than 1/10 of the people on the planet. Always you are genetically inferior.
Correct.
Or inadequate. Not ever that I am genetic recessive in terms of skin coloration and I can be genetically annihilated and I really wish I had skin color and that's why I suntan.
Are there points of history that one can identify at which this minority status of white people on earth and their inability to create color, the possibility of their annihilation, became apparent on a universal basis?
Well, I say once, and you know, isn't this the year of Columbus?
Yep, it sure is.
You see, he is the European, so-called, the European who started to circumnavigate the globe. And those voyages of so-called discovery, where the European people, the white people, found out that everybody else on the planet was colored. And I say that from that point on, do you see, and from enough voyagers or so-called explorers having sexual relations with the women, and the babies always looking like the mothers, do you see, that became an awareness that there could be white genetic annihilation at a global level. In other words, if some of those boats started going from south to north, ending up in Europe with colored men on them.
Now, was the original response to this a psychological response on the part of Europeans that later became a more strategic response?
Well, do you see that it's very hard for people of color to set themselves in the psyche of a person who can experience genetic annihilation. Do you see, black people under racism have been taught to hate this color dominance and try to get rid of it. Do you see, is there any way that somebody can bleach my skin and change my nose as a dominant feature or my hair? Do you see? So to put yourself in the mindset of someone who has experienced white genetic annihilation and is fearful of white genetic annihilation, it's very difficult Do you see, for us, I say, to understand that. But I say, nonetheless, this is what the behavior, I mean, I'm a general psychiatrist
Yes.
and child psychiatrist, and accustomed to looking at behavior and trying to figure out, as a clinician, this is when I started writing about racism in a serious manner. Do you see, as a resident in psychiatry at St. Elizabeth's Hospital, 1963 to 1966. And the black patients, I had, well, that's a long story, but anyway, taking histories from black patients, and I said, I've got to figure out what is going on that is causing black people to be emotionally disturbed. And I kept, you take a history, you keep running into what has happened to the black person as a result of racism. You know, unemployment, family falling apart, no job, despondency. Do you see all of those things?
I wanted to use an example by telling a story about how this, as you're pointing out, reflects itself in the culture and the symbols in the culture, because you mentioned hospital and it made the story pop into my head. I'd love to hear your interpretation of this. A friend of mine who is a physician was practicing at a hospital in the Washington area and had an elderly black woman for a patient who refused to have surgery for what she said were religious reasons. He was teaching a group of interns at the time and thought he would demonstrate to them how innovative a physician he was by bringing in her pastor, another black gentleman, and having her pastor try to persuade her to have the surgery. Nevertheless, didn't succeed. She still wouldn't do it, still for religious reasons. One of the interns who was with him, a young white man, had long hair and a beard. That white man apparently stayed in the room with the elderly black woman as the doctor and the other interns left.
I know the end of the story. Go ahead.
He turned around and said, "Where is such and such a person? Let me go get him." When he went back to get him, he sees the young man in the room with the elderly black woman. She is holding the white man's hand and looking into his eyes very serenely. And she says, "Dr. So-and-so, I'll have the surgery now. I think God has spoken to me." Could you please interpret that for
do you
us?
see, exactly, and very specifically, Jesus was a man in Africa if he existed. He was a black person. I say that there's enough awareness in the system of white supremacy to say, now we've got a world, so to speak, of colored people. One way to control them is to make God in our image and then have them worship us. They will never overthrow us as long as they are worshiping as God the image of the oppressor. Do you see what I'm saying? So there was a theater piece or play or musical that black people had at the Ford Theater, I believe, Arms Too Short to Box with God. The symbol of them is, I'm too weak to overthrow oppression. And this is exactly why one would present the image of God, you see, and beat and coerce and put that image in place in the minds of the victims of oppression.
You're a child psychiatrist. What does that do to children's minds?
Well, you see, what does television just constantly looking, like I monitor television sometimes and look at the images of children, you know, little children in an ad, and you see white, white, white. Now you imagine a 3-year-old black child sitting and looking at the television. Do you see? And all these little children that come on to advertise whatever are white. And so that child, by the age of 3, you can say, well, here are 2 dolls, sweetheart. One black and one white. You don't have to name the colors. The little baby is looking. You say, which doll do you want? The child is going to pick the white doll. Do you see? And if you got 100 black children, 1992. Kenneth Clark did that study a long time ago. But because the system of white supremacy is intact, and it is zapping out those messages 1,000,000 times a day in the newspapers, in the magazines, on the television, in the movies. Do you see? So if you see a white and a black man, detectives in a movie, you always see the white man in front leading and the black man is running behind. You know, that was the Bill Cosby series years ago.
I Spy.
And now we have a current series.
There's always one. There's always one.
Do you see? In other words,
I think even Lethal
teaching
Weapon
place,
is one of those
teaching
series,
place.
right?
Like I saw a commercial this morning. Don't know what the product was, but they used some film clips from the Little Rascals. A long time ago, the really white supremacy, films about little children, you know, where the little black kid had his hat turned around backwards, he's always bucking his eyes. Now, this is 1992, but they can find a reason to throw that in. Do you see? Because you have to keep reinforcing the concept. Or if you look at television and you say, monitor the images of black males.
Oh, yes.
You see, like 99% of the images of black males have to be hands behind your back, handcuffed, criminal, threat, violence. Do you see? They could have, you know, if you wanted to educate people so that you got the most out of them, then you would see all these black male children with shirts and ties and graduating from school and sitting down studying and looking in their books. And how can I be helpful to the old people in the community and doing, there are children that are doing this.
Oh, yes. Most
all
of
the
them.
time.
Yep.
But we don't
see,
focus on that
we only see the
because that's
dysfunctional
not
ones.
what we are attempting to project.
Or what I call dysfunctional.
See, there
ones.
would be a catastrophe if all black men were functional. So we must have them in Lorton or DC jail. You see, and we can think to spend $50 million incarcerating them, because if the black men were out and if they had jobs and if they were functional, supporting themselves, supporting their wives, supporting their children, then you would have a continuing flow of strong, productive people. Then the people who are concerned and frightened consciously or subconsciously about white genetic annihilation, you see,
I want to take it international now and go off at what may seem like a tangent, but believe me, it isn't. And that is, because it's universal, because it affects all non-white people, because Karl Marx and Frederick Engels argued that while racism was a big problem and had to be dealt with, it wasn't the fundamental problem, and the fundamental problem was the caste problem, and we have seen socialism fall in Eastern Europe, so we now do not feel that as a system it can necessarily solve any of the problems it claimed to solve before. Nevertheless, we see another rising capitalism in Japan. We see that capitalism threatening the interests of the United States. But there are those who will say that if indeed there is a white supremacy that is universal and worldwide, then will it find a way of trying to suppress the Japanese economic
well, it's
giant?
already happening. That's called Japanese bashing. Do you see? In other words, if it was anybody who can be a successful capitalist come forward. I mean, for that matter, tragically, the only thing that they've given black young men to do is to sell these drugs, whether we're supposed to believe the statistics. Do you see? These children are being capitalists out on the street. Do you see? But nobody is coming to them saying, well, let's teach you how the market economy. No, people from here are jumping over to Hungary and Eastern Europe, and we must teach these people market economy and talk to these people about poverty.
They got the World Bank and the IMF in on it already.
Do you see? In the Cress theory that was first presented in 1970, 22 years ago, I said capitalism and communism are simply economic forms under white supremacy. They're really not enemies. I also said there couldn't be integrated housing. Do you see? And so it's explained why in the theory. Now people, well, how is it that if the population in a suburban area gets over 8% black, the white people move out? It's because of this fundamental concern. Do you see? But the proof, I mean, white supremacy just keeps patting me on the back, saying, you're right, Frances Welsing, by not being able to discuss the issue. You see, because as long as it's not discussed, even the things that are at the subconscious level remain at the subconscious level. If they become at the conscious level, it will modify people's behavior.
White supremacy, you say that Washington, D.C. is really the center for white supremacy in the world. Is that a temporary
well, it's just
thing?
the power. I mean, Washington is the power.
Does that necessarily have to be the case, you think?
Well,
I mean, we're seeing a unified Europe coming together in 1992, or if they
well,
ever
the New
manage to
World
pull it
Order
off.
is, you know, none of the white people are arguing and squabbling with each other. They are all united as they keep the non-white world in check for the purpose of white genetic survival.
Let's talk about some more symbolism. You mentioned the Washington Monument. Explain to our viewers the symbolism of the Washington Monument.
Gosh, do we have time? Do you see, I think that it would be obvious to anyone that, isn't that an interesting shape? And then they'll say, oh, well, isn't that the same as a phallus or a penis? Do you see an erect penis? That ought to be clear. And this is why I say that is an important monument, but maybe it'll be easier for people to look at the symbolism of ball games in the white supremacy culture.
Oh,
Did
right,
you read that one?
Yes, I saw the ball games. Tell us about ball games.
So I'm lecturing and I'll ask an audience of 300 people, 500 people, what are the two series of ball games in the white supremacy system and culture? I could be at some predominantly white school, some white professor, whoever the brightest person in the audience or professor. What are the two series of ball games in the white supremacy system and culture? And they'll say the national football, baseball, and I say no, the two series of ball games are big brown and small white. Do you see now, no black person designed that. That's coming from that subconscious concern that the black, do you see, because the balls represent what we call colloquially the balls, meaning the testicles. The testicles contain the genetic material. Do you see, black male testicle compared to white male testicle, which one is the most powerful? The black with the dominant genetic material. So all the big brown balls do you see, are played by the men that are considered to be most virile in the culture. And the small white ball, we can start with ping pong, golf, baseball. do you see? Now, I didn't set that up, nor did, you see, in other words, smoking objects are also phallic symbols. What are the two series of smoking objects in the white supremacy culture? Did you read that one?
No, I didn't.
So I'll ask you a question.
The two smoking objects in
the two series of smoking objects.
I got this one already, the cigarette and the cigar.
Yeah, but you didn't give me the series, Coach.
Oh, the two series.
Big brown.
Big brown
and small white.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Do you see, in the big brown is a cigar, the pipe, and more cigarettes. And small white is a cigarette. The men that are considered most powerful smoke what? Cigars.
Oh, pipes or cigars? Cigars, I guess.
Cigars. The men that are considered most intelligent smoke a pipe.
Pipes, yes.
Do you see big brown again? The power of big brown. Small white is called colloquially, you know what the slang word for cigarette?
No, I don't.
Look in your dictionary. It's fag.
Sure is. Oh, yeah.
Do you see now? In other
until
words,
it became a derogatory word about gay people.
Well, but you see, but that's exactly what it. That's exactly what it meant. I mean, that is a term developed by the smokers of cigars. Do you see, the big brown that is symbolic of the black male phallus, the white cigarette, smaller, that is symbolic of the white male phallus. That's considered effeminate compared to the black male. Now Francis Welsing didn't invent this.
Did not. But is it possible that the people who did were operating subconsciously?
Yeah, that's all, because it's like, white people say,
okay.
How'd you think of that? Or how'd you see that? Do you see, I won't even get into where the big brown balls go.
As we move into our discussions about what to do about this, there are those watching this show who will say that Dr. Francis Welsing thinks that all of the minority peoples that they call minority, all of the red, brown, and yellow people of the earth are these pure, naive, innocent people who are all victims. And that's the problem we have in America, is victim syndrome. And here's Dr. Welsing encouraging all these people to think of themselves as victims. How would you respond?
I would respond by saying that all of the people of color, I remember something that Sitting Bull is supposed to have said. He is supposed to have said, Native American, to the younger people, you will have to find out what this white man is all about because we don't understand him. I mean, that's paraphrasing. We as black people are all the time, we greet each other by saying, hey, what's happening? Because we don't know what's going on. We keep trying, you see, and we remain at the bottom. And so I am trying, I'm a physician, and it's like, if a person comes in coughing, the person is saying, doctor, find out what's really wrong with me. Help me get well. And so I know that this problem that everybody has talked about and was talking about before I was born, do you see, and still talking about it, that this is a problem that has to be solved. And I say that I'm not asking any longer the white people to solve the problem, because I wish they could, but even after Los Angeles, it's almost patently clear that they cannot deal with it. That black people have to say, the problem is ours, we'll solve it 100% by ourselves.
And when we come back, we'll talk about what the solutions to the problems might be. We're going to take a short break, but don't go away. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing will be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. We're talking about white supremacy and racism with a woman who has been studying and writing on this subject for more than 20 years. She is Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, the well-known psychiatrist. And for those people who say, okay, you have defined the problem for us, Dr. Welsing, we know that as black people we have struggled, we are capable of struggle, we don't just idly sit back and allow ourselves to be oppressed, but we would be interested in hearing from you some possible solutions.
Well, let me say this, that I have said that this dynamic of racism is going on because of white people's fear of their genetic annihilation. I wish that they could get insight into the problem, since they're in charge of the world, and say we're going to stop. They say we are really all going to be so-called equal. And in love everybody like Martin Luther King. But if we all loved each other, what would happen to white?
We'd be one human race, we'd be interspersed with all kinds of colors, and we won't be able to define ourselves based on race
genetically
anymore.
dominant, if everybody loved, white would disappear.
Yes.
Do you see? Now, so I say, if that's the case, and if their position is we're too afraid of our genetic annihilation, we have to keep doing what we're doing. Then I say, black people, take your position on the black side of the chessboard.
Okay.
Do you see? And if the people classifying themselves as white are on the white side of the chessboard playing for white genetic survival, the black people have to play for justice.
Okay.
Do you see? I'm not talking about hating white people or anything like that. But we have to say, wait a minute, it's vastly incorrect for the majority of the people on the planet Earth to be down and starving and in prison and not to, developing to the genetic potential that they have. And so we assume the black side of the chessboard and say, we're the parents of everybody in the world, we're the first people on the planet, I guess we have to correct it. Now, the thing that has happened most fundamentally to black people and other people of color under white supremacy is our self-image and our self-concept has been severely damaged.
Yes.
Justice is a product of self-respect. Do you see, if you deeply, deeply, deeply respect yourself, you will behave in such a way that justice is a byproduct.
Okay.
Do you see, and you will sacrifice and give whatever is necessary because your level of self-respect is so high. So I say we have to assume the black side of the chessboard and then begin to engage in the exercises of black mental health and black self-respect.
Okay.
Stop name-calling one another, stop gossiping about one another, squabbling, cursing one another. Now this sounds trivial, but it is not. You see, stop fighting one another, stop killing one another. What if we were all codified in the District of Columbia? We don't kill each other.
Okay.
Then all of that homicide is stopping in the street. That same money can then be used so every child in the District of Columbia, the government can pay for them to go to college.
If we are capable of following...
Now those are only a few.
Go
Okay,
ahead.
Stop fighting one another, stop robbing one another, stop stealing from one another, stop using and selling drugs, stop throwing down trash where black people live, work, and play. Stop making black children think that as children they can be adequate mothers and fathers. Stop pretending that white supremacy does not exist. Stop allowing black, brown, red, and yellow people being divided by white supremacy.
Does that mean if we do all of that, or if we are in the process of trying to do all of that, does that give the people of color on the planet, and let me use a more practical example, there's this so-called North-South dialogue that is
That's
now
white supremacy, just dressed
taking
up in
place.
other terms.
Right. You also point out that the whole notion of Western civilization, Western culture means white culture and white civilization,
Right.
just dressed up in other terms. But when the people of color of the world come together in a place like Brazil to discuss the environment, and they are confronted by the very powerful nations that are run by white people. Are you suggesting that if we were to do some of the things that you talked about?
First of all, understand white supremacy.
Yes.
Do you see? Because the white population is a tiny minority population. What if all the black, brown, red, and yellow people were not engaging in hate?
Right.
But they simply said, we surround you effectively. We will not fight each other. Because white supremacy has to have, like South Africa, you have to have, you pit the Inkatha against the ANC, or you pit the Bloods against the Crips, and then you give them guns so they'll carry out fratricide, do you see, and chaos, so that white supremacy is allowed to go forward. If the non-white people simply say, we're not fighting each other anymore.
But at this conference in Brazil that I'm thinking of, the non-white peoples of the world, as represented by their prime presidents and prime ministers, were able to get some support from some European countries in this, and then President Bush went in there and said, no, we're not going for that. Was he fundamentally expressing the same fear of annihilation and decided that
to the extent that that is a statement that we're going to continue to put the toxic waste in your areas?
Yep.
Do you see? And you don't have the power to stop us from doing that.
I guess my question to you is this how we get the power?
Well, do you see, in other words, first, the non-white people who think that, as you were mentioning in the opening, that, oh, no, this doesn't have anything to do with color. Dr. Welsing is the only one who keeps talking about color. It doesn't have anything to do with color. It's economics. Do you see? But I say simply turn on your TV. You see Yeltsin and Bush embracing. Who's on the outside?
So that at a summit like the one in Brazil, when it looks as if we were discussing environmental matters related to economics,
everything
when
is
you
related.
look at it,
Everything, there's not anything. The dominant dynamic on planet Earth today is the dynamic of racism, meaning white supremacy, in all of those areas of activity: economics, education, entertainment, labor law, politics, religion, sex, and war.
Jesse Jackson is not running for president. What you have are President Bush, Bill Clinton, and Ross Perot running for president. 3 white males. That group of people that you argue who apparently feel most threatened by the prospects of annihilation. What do people of color do in a situation like that, when you know that there are people out there registering to vote, and you know that people hope that by casting their ballot intelligently, it can make a difference in the influence of racism on their lives?
Well, I say this is something that black people of color and other people of color should think about. If a candidate comes forward and you are being courteous and polite and they smack you, do you see, you have to say, wait a minute, I respect myself. You cannot take me for granted. And even though I'm not anticipating that any of the individuals is going to solve my problems, but if you have demonstrated repeatedly that you don't respect me, I'll show you what the power of my vote can do. How do you spell Perot? Now, I'm not saying to black people. You see, I say black people have to begin to analyze and understand the problem. And begin the revolution that is going to take place is within our understanding of our situation on the chessboard, and begin to shape and mold our behavior. And chess is a marvelous analogy, because the object of the game of chess is what?
Is to capture what? I don't play chess.
Well, anyway, you know a little bit about the game. Take a guess.
My son beat me at chess when he was 8 years old, and I stopped playing.
Okay, well, you go home and ask, what's the object of the game of chess? Do you see? I say the deepest analysis of that game, I'm not a chess player either, but I know what the game is about. You got a white side and a black side. Yeah. The white side always moves first. But of course, this is white supremacy. Okay, so that white always moves first, and so the object of the game of chess is for the white king to checkmate the black king.
Okay.
Do you see? And so we have to, and that is white genetic survival, to put the black male in check. once we begin to understand that, do you see, once the general understands the war, then you know exactly what kind of strategies and tactics you will deploy to achieve your objective. Now, you sit down and play chess, you don't hate your opponent. Do you see? But you know your opponent is consistently. Do you see? Right. I mean, the Bullets don't have to hate. Give me another team.
Chicago Bulls.
Okay, the Bulls. Do you see what I'm saying? In other words, no, you have on your jersey and I have on mine. We don't go in the locker room and change jerseys. But you're always coming out to play what? Your offense, defense, and I have to play my defense, offense. And even look at the uniforms in the game. What color jerseys does the home team under white supremacy always wear? White. Do you see? I mean, it's all there. It's all there.
We're running out of time, but I need your comments on another issue, because when the Sister Soldier Bill Clinton controversy erupted, it reminded me of the need for a greater dialogue within the black community between younger and older, between two different generations, between the hip-hop generation and the generation that preceded it. I've found out that a lot of our young people first learn anything they know at all about black culture, black achievement, and its spokespersons through hip-hop music. Nevertheless, there is a lot of hip-hop music that is also demeaning, but it seems that almost invariably many young people first start discovering consciousness in the lyrics of hip-hop records.
Okay, but you see, we won't end the program. We may have to, I'll invite myself back.
For another hour, you're welcome.
See, but in other words, we won't end the program with a discussion of racism, white supremacy, by criticizing our own children.
No.
Do you understand? Because Sister
Soldier
and all of, whatever somebody might say is what seems like
I wanted your impression
violence.
On the whole culture.
Right. Do you see that it's coming from that music is the children are saying, we are in pain. We are in pain, and none of the older people seem to have come up with the answers. Older people are supposed to lead and protect. And we are demonstrating that white supremacy has overwhelmed us, and we have been unable to protect our children, do you see, and the male children in particular, who are dropping out of school, do you see? And so Sister Soldier is expressing, do you see, that anger.
Sure.
Do you see, when young white people stand up and express their anger, oh, this is wonderful, look at the generation that seems to be interested and involved in the issues of the world. Do you see, and they embrace that.
But that is precisely much of what hip-hop culture does. It expresses an interest in the social condition of black people, and an interest in finding out, sometimes it's a little wrongly directed, but an interest in finding out what is the basis.
But see, I'm not going to say, I won't say
wrongly directed.
I won't, see, in other words, no, if we can get white supremacy off of the backs of ourselves and our children, so they don't have to be anger. Do you see?
Sure.
So they can sit down and reflect and study and bring peace and justice to the world.
In that context, then, should we try to continue and initiate a dialogue, and you've already volunteered yourself to be a part of it, to make sure that we are in fact trying to lead and protect our young people?
Well, you know, when Public Enemy said that Cress Welsing was the
they sure did.
The influence for talking about fear of the black planet. Do you see? And if I can talk, look at simply all the people that called me from this country and out of the country, news people. Well, how do they know you? I didn't know the children, but the children picked up an idea and said, we think that this has relevance.
And see the trouble she got Public Enemy into, but no, they're doing very well. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome. I'm glad to be here.
And you will be back. That's our show for tonight. We would like to thank Dr. Frances Welsing for joining us, and thank you for joining us also.